at WVYN.org.
Family Force 5. Putting the heart in your party. The American Christian rock band from Atlanta. Live at Effingham Performance Center. Sunday, October 8th. Rockin', raucous, faithful. Over a decade, 5 studio albums and 9 EPs, and the stage show incredible. Tickets at Ticketmaster.com/EPC 800-745-3000 or the box office. October 8th, your entertainment destination.
Real Life Radio, 90.9 The Vine.
90.9 The Vine, in conjunction with AreaSports.net, proudly presents The Sports Couch. The Sports Couch is the area's only locally produced weekly sports show that is live on FM radio and also streamed live on both of our websites at AreaSports.net and WVYN.org. Who will be on the couch this morning? Let's find out. The Sports Couch is on the air right now. Well, good morning again, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of the Sports Couch here live on the radio and live online as well at AreaSports.net. I'm Randy Olson, live in studio along with Danny Ouncement. Man, it is a nice, cool fall type of morning today, Danny.
Yeah, it sure is, Randy. The last couple of mornings have been almost long-sleeve shirt weather.
Yeah, absolutely. And good football weather for sure. And there were some great football games around the area last night in high school play. And college football kicks off in earnest this weekend, too. There was a few games yesterday, and today you'll see Illinois start their season officially. And, of course, Michigan State kicks off today, and then there's some other intriguing matchups, too, including a matchup between a few ranked teams, as you're going to have Florida and Michigan, 2 preseason top 20 ranked teams going at each other right out of the gate.
That's pretty interesting because a lot of times that don't really happen. It's usually
a
two or three cupcakes, and then we decide we're going to start playing football.
Yeah, that's right. And we were talking off air a little bit ago. You were saying, it's going to be interesting to see what happens at Illinois now that Lovie Smith has had a chance to really, put his system in and get more recruits.
Well, yeah, he's starting to get – last year he played the players from the last regime.
Right.
And now he's trying to change the culture and the thought process, and he's got his system in, and the guys who are still around there now know what he expects, and he's got some of his players coming in. I heard him the other day say that 3 or 4 people they thought were going to redshirt as freshmen are not. They've performed well enough they're going to be on the starting grid. All
right, so we'll talk a little bit more about college football later on the show. We got a lot of great guests on the show with us this morning, not only football coaches, but some other ones as well. In fact, we're going to be visiting with Kent Williams coming up in our next half hour. Kent Williams is the new boys head basketball coach at St. Louis De Smet High School. And if you know anything about De Smet and you know anything about St. Louis high school basketball and Missouri high school basketball, you know that De Smet is a powerhouse, has been in the years past. It's a storied program, rich tradition. In fact, Danny, they've won 5 state championships in the state of Missouri. They were down a little bit last year, but Kent Williams at the helm, that's kind of exciting, and I'm sure he'll bring them back to prominence.
Yeah, and the thing about it is that's one of those schools that can recruit. He's a heck of a recruiter.
Yeah, he's a heck of a recruiter, yeah. I was talking to him on the phone a couple of days ago, lining up the interview for this morning, and I said, De Smet's kind of like the Belleville-Altha for the Missouri side of the river. And he says, yeah, that's right, true. And I said, well, I could see you two playing each other well,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Greg Lieb and Kent Williams going at each other, that'd be fun, wouldn't it?
They're the only 2 teams that can go recruit 6'10", 6'11 kids to play against each other. Won't be long and nobody will want to play them.
Now, I look forward to the time during basketball season. I really do. And once they set that up, I'm sure it's going to happen sometime in the future. It may not happen this first year, but it'll happen sometime in the future where Althoff and De Smet will play each other, and then we'll have to get Lieb and Kent both on the show after that. And
that'd be interesting.
Oh, that'd be hilarious. It'd just be great. Yeah. So anyway, Kent will be on the show with us a little bit later on, and we'll talk about his career in college basketball coaching and the change here to go to high school coaching at De Smet. and what he looks forward to there. So that'll be a fun visit, so stay tuned for that. Also, in just a moment, we'll visit with Coach Justin Townsend of the Fairfield Mules following their big road win last night at Chester. We'll also talk to Brian Tackitt of the Flora Wolves. They got their first win of the season last night. Dan Mings, the Johnson City Indians, got their first win of the year. We'll talk to Coach Mings later on the show. And we're going to talk a little soccer and a little volleyball this morning on the Sports Couch as well. We'll have Coach Vimal Patel from the Mount Vernon Rams soccer program talking about their team. In fact, they got a match later on this morning at 11 o'clock if you want to see them play today. So we'll talk to Coach Patel about that. And Jason Hall, the volleyball coach at Hamilton County, will also join us on the show this morning to talk about Lady Foxes volleyball.
He's got another powerhouse group down there. Look for that team to make a run.
So, a lot to get to today on the Sports Couch. And before we get our first guest on, Danny's going to run through our scoreboard from last night, which you can also see on our sports website at AreaSports.net. Danny, go ahead.
All right, from the Black Diamond Conference last night, Carmi goes to Christopher and shuts them out 40-0. In a matchup this afternoon, it'll be a great day for afternoon football. El Dorado will travel to Vienna Goreville. Fairfield shuts out Chester in the second half, 56-22. I think that game was tied like 22 at all at halftime or something like that. So Fairfield got it regrouped and come out and held Chester scoreless in the second half. Johnson City defeated Hamilton County 14-0. Foxes had several opportunities, just couldn't punch it in last night. Cesar-Valliere must be the real deal. They go to Edwards County. They're 2-0 in the conference, 34-7 over Edwards County. Carlisle moves to 2-0 with a 48-27 over Freeburg. Breeze Central defeats Salem 33-18. Excuse me. The Little Illini, Newton 49, Casey 14. Red Hill 63, Alany 26. Flora gets their first win, 43-21 over Robinson. And some non-conference, Benton goes to Sparta last night, 29-13. That's a game that both teams were pretty sluggish in the first quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Then the Yellow Hankies, I've heard it was opening ceremonies for the Olympics with all the flags flying. All kinds of jokes about flags last night. Very highly penalized game. Morton defeated Centralia 50-42 in a battle where there were several points put on the board. DuQuoin defeats Harrisburg 33-27. That was a matchup that they thought would have some major implication on the season.
Mm-hmm.
Team that looks like they may be the real deal, the Heron Tigers 49, Carterville 20. Heron off to a 2-0 start. Mascoutah beat Mattoon 48-9. Mount Vernon will take on Woodstock at Urbana-Champaign this afternoon. Kind of a surprise deal here. Mount Vernon, Indiana 28, Mount Carmel 22. Mount Carmel Aces start the season 0-2, and I'm sure that's been a long time since that happened.
Well, I sure can't ever remember it happening, but you'd have to go back a long time, right?
Anna Jonesboro 43, Murfreesboro 14. Nashville rebounds with a victory last night, 17-12 over Massac. West Frankfort gets their first win, 36-14 over Pinckneyville. And Triad beat Collinsville 44-7.
And again, you can see all those scores posted on our sports website at AreaSports.net. As Danny mentioned, the Fairfield Mules make the long trip to Chester last night and have an incredible second half, and they win the game 56-22. Joining us on the show right now is head coach of the Mules. It's Justin Townsend. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
I'm doing good. Good morning, guys.
You probably just got back to Fairfield about an hour ago, huh?
Yeah, just a couple hours ago.
That is a long trip.
I'm sure it feels that way.
My goodness sakes, but what a huge win last night for your Mules. And, boy, you take away the second quarter last night and you threw another shutout.
Yeah. First of all, Chester has some weapons. Their quarterback's a nice player. He worried me going in all week because I knew he could extend plays. He's a running threat. He's a dual threat guy. So, we were really struggling with the approach to take with him. Do we try to, send a lot of pressure and make him get rid of the ball quick? Do we play a little softer in coverage? We tried it all last night,
Mm-hmm.
in the first half it didn't matter. He was 10 of 10 on his first 10 throws. He was just, on it. Fortunately for us, offensively we were rolling. We had over 500 yards total offense, mixed in the run and the pass last night. So I think physically we were able to wear them down. We shut them out in the second half, and I think a big part of that is, one, the adjustments we made, and then our kids just started playing defensively in the secondary. They did a tremendous job in the second half, and I think a huge factor, a lot of those receivers that first half were running those crisp, quick routes were the same guys playing defense in the second half, and we were doing some no-huddle stuff out of the run game, and I think we just physically wore them down. I think it showed in the second half. We pretty much dominated the second half.
Coach, a lot of times when you get to play in teams that are in the upper echelon, sometimes that is the case. The team that has the more stamina, maybe a little better depth, things like that usually come to the forefront, don't they?
Yeah, and I think that happened. It will not surprise me a bit if Chester can get to 5 or 6 wins, just because they're going to be able to score points. Like I said, they had some big athletic receivers, quarterback's a nice player, big physical defense, offensive and defensive line. But I think that when it was all said and done, I think the better team probably won. But I got to give them a lot of credit. They really tested us. We had a lot of adversity last night, and our kids responded. It was much better for us to go down there like that and be in that type of game. We were down 22-16 at one point, and then I think we scored 5 consecutive touchdowns. And you learn about yourself, you learn about your kids, and those types of games are what helps you down the road and hopefully come playoff time.
Mm-hmm.
So just in the road trip and all that, I mean, it was a great experience for us, and I just couldn't be happier with how our kids responded to essentially getting punched in the mouth a little bit, and we got back up and we went at it again, and were able to pull away in the second half.
Well, and offensively, you did a lot of things last night and scored in many different ways. I know you had 2 guys that rushed for over 100 yards, another one I think with 81 yards, and then you picked your places to pass and had some big plays there, including a big 2-point conversion. And in your passing game, even though you don't pass a lot, you've got a couple of tall and strong receivers there that are going to be tough to cover in Kobe Dagg and Jaden Lewis, and those are not easy guys to match up with.
Yeah, I mean, both those guys are 6'4", 230 pounds, and can run, great hands. And then we also had a big touchdown pass to Hefner out of the backfield, who's 6'3", 220. The thing about all those passes are, 80% of our passing game is play action. They had 9 to 10 guys in the box coming any given point. And we knew that when we did throw, we were going to be open, but we also knew that we didn't have enough to account for what they were sending. So I got to give credit to Alec, our quarterback. He hung in the pocket. He took a shot on every single one of those throws he completed. But, he put it on the money. And, he's pretty tough. And we worked a lot of pass protection this week because, we saw what they did against El Dorado. They put 10 guys in the box and made El Dorado throw the football a little bit. And El Dorado's good enough to do that. Hit some big plays, very similar to what we did.
Mm-hmm.
And couldn't be more pleased with the kids up front too. They had a great night. Offensive line, they didn't stop us all night. And one of the few times we got stopped, that's not going to show in the stats, but we were inside the 5, I believe, twice. And I think we fumbled once and maybe got stuffed at the half-yard line. But previous play to that, we had fumbled, so kind of gave us a negative play. I mean, we did not get stopped offensively all night, and that goes back to our kids getting better up front. And our backs blocking, our tight ends blocking. And then when you start mixing in the pass, I think it kind of gives teams another element to think about. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, Coach, one of the things you hit on earlier was that long road trip and stuff over there. A guy gets into the playoffs, that's a distinct possibility the way the IHSA schedules events and sends teams and things like that. So you're right, that was some valuable experience for your mules to go into a hostile environment. like you said, from Fairfield, Illinois to Chester, there's just no good way to get there.
No, and it's, you know, it's even worse on a bus because you got to stop at all those railroad tracks.
Yeah.
I think there's about 8.
Yeah.
So I'm not exaggerating.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
There is a bunch, and so on a bus, obviously, you got to stop at each one, and so it just makes it that much longer. I will say the ride home was much better than the ride there. You know.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it was.
You know, like I said, it was a good win for us, and you know, these first 2 weeks we've beaten Johnston City on the road, we've beaten Chester on the road. Those were 2 teams traditionally our playoff caliber teams. You know, I think they'll definitely at least be in the middle of the pack this year. So, you know, for us, that's 2 quality wins on the road to start the season off. So that's exactly where we wanted to be.
Well, you're going to be in good shape now headed to the train yard next Friday night. It'll be nice to have your home opener, won't it?
Yeah, kids are looking forward to getting home. Play Christopher, you know, young team trying to rebuild. So, you know, we're more. I think I said this last week. You know, we're concerned about us, what we can do to get better each and every week. Now we really have some things in front of us, tangible things that we've seen firsthand. Hey, we got to improve on this. And for me, that's great as a coach because we know what direction we need to go from here. And just, you know, every day challenge the kids, motivate them to get better each and every day, and good things are going to happen. So, you know, that's the approach we're taking.
Well, yeah, you know, Coach, we talked about it some last week. You know, you practice and you work all summer long and during the off season. And when you get to the point that you're ready to start playing games, hopefully the things that you've all worked on, then the tweaking process begins, doesn't it?
Absolutely. You know, you have your base stuff, offensive, defensive schemes that you put in, but I mean, I think what you do, and hopefully you're able to do as a coach, and your kids are able to adjust to what teams do to your base. You know, what can you do to build on what you already have in, the foundation that you have in? And I think last night was a perfect example. For us defensively, we kind of had 2 types of defenses that we went into that game playing, you know, to defend their quarterback who was pretty good. Well, the first 2 didn't work. So, you know, at halftime, we kind of had to get the whiteboard out and say, hey, this is what we need to do. This is what's going to help us do a better job of being more balanced against the run and pass. And like I said, we shut them down completely in the second half. And that's a tribute to our kids, able to adjust on the fly. And I told them, I said, that's a sign of a great football team, to be able to do those things, not be so rigid, you know. Well, we've never done that before, Coach. I don't, you know, our kids were able to adapt. And a lot of that goes to experience. They've played a lot of varsity football. They've been in big games. But the way they responded, I can't say enough about them. We got better last night. You know, I'm 100% positive of that. And that's what we need to do week in and week out.
All right, Coach. Well, again, congratulations on the win last night. A great effort by your Mules, improving to 2-0, and now you come back home to the train yard next week and have that home opener in front of the hometown fans. And so I know you got that to look forward to. But, hey, enjoy your holiday weekend, and thanks for joining us this morning on the Sports Couch, okay?
Okay. Thanks, guys.
All right, take care. Bye-bye. Head coach Justin Townsend, the Mules, 56-22. They were winners last night. It was 32-22 at half. They threw a complete shutout second half.
Yeah, they definitely made some adjustments in there at halftime and come out. Chester in that second quarter looked like they were kind of had the Mules on the ropes for a little bit.
They were throwing the ball and throwing it very effectively. Yeah, they sure
but they
were.
Regrouped and got back on top.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, when we come back, we're going to talk to head coach Brian Tackitt of the Flora Wolves. They got their first win last night. Big win over Robinson. We'll talk to Coach Tackitt about that coming up next on the Sports Couch. Stay tuned.
It's the local sports talk show that everyone is talking about. It's the Sports Couch on 90.9 The Vine and AreaSports.net.
Nothing makes a tough outdoor job easy like the legendary power and performance of Yanmar compact tractors. Hi, I'm Jerome from Main Street Shop Fairfield, and I'm here to talk about the legendary reliability of Yanmar equipment. A particular note is the superb Yanmar diesel engine. Over 100 years of development is built into that power plant, smooth and dependable. Directional change is made simple using the twin-pedal hydrostat. Push one pedal to go forward and the other one for reverse. Simple. Just stop in Main Street Shop Fairfield for a test ride, and we'll give you a free hat just for trying one.
Are you going out of town for a vacation or a weekend getaway? What are you going to do with your dog? That's easy. There's Jagger's Doggy Daycare in Mount Vernon. Jagger's Doggy Daycare is your one-stop shop for overnight dog boarding, doggy daycare, as well as dog grooming and obedience dog training. It's your dog's home away from home. They will thrive, and they'll get one-on-one attention by a great staff. More information is available on the web at jaggersdoggydaycare.com. Jagger's Doggy Daycare, 414 Main Street in Mount Vernon. Welcome back to the Sports Couch here live on a Saturday morning on 105.5 and 90.9 The Vine Radio, and also streaming live worldwide on both of our websites, live video streaming at AreaSports.net and live audio streaming at WVYN.org. I'm Randy Olson, live in studio along with Danny Ounselman. And last night in the Little Illini Conference, Flora Wolves ventured out to take on the Robinson Maroons last night, come away with a big win, 43-21 over Robinson. And joining us right now is the head coach of the Flora Wolves. That's Brian Tackitt. Good morning, Brian.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Great to have you on the Sports Couch, and congratulations on the win last night. That's got to feel good.
Yes, it does. Anytime you get the first win, it's a good feeling.
Well, talk about the adjustments that you made from week 1 to week 2, and what was the difference last night in the way you played both offensively and defensively.
Well, we talk about week 2, man. We preach how important week 2 is, especially coming off week 1 loss. There's a big difference between 1-1 and 0-2. So
Yep.
we had a great week of practice. The kids were focused, and really we talked about doing the things that we did at Marshall in week 1 in the first quarter, but just prolonging that and having a better effort for 4 quarters. Because last week we were up 8-0 at Marshall and midway through the second quarter. So we played well. We just didn't sustain success that we had, and when bad things happen, and bad things are going to happen in every game you play, we just didn't fight through those bad things. So truthfully, I mean, it wasn't an X's and O's thing. It was more of a mental thing. We just tried to prepare the guys a little bit better mentally, and bad things are going to happen. You just got to fight through those, and we got a lot of new guys out there, and it was something that we knew was going to have to learn on the run, and they did from week 1 to week 2.
Yeah, that's great. So what was the score at halftime last night of your game?
Well, we were up 20-7, and they scored with about 2 minutes to go right in the second quarter, right before halftime. So we were up 20-0, felt really, really good about ourselves, and then they hit a late deep pass on our sideline and got a score to put in there. So we kind of went into halftime wondering where our momentum was at and how much did that late score take away from us. But we came back and put the football in the end zone 3 times in the third quarter. So we answered well, and that was big for our kids.
Mm-hmm. Well, coming right out of the gate with your schedule, taking on Marshall and Robinson right out of the gate, I mean, that's not easy. That's 2 tough cookies, right out of the gate here.
Yeah, you're right, and that's like I said. We go to Marshall, we lose, and then you got to turn around with a big school like Robinson, who puts a lot of kids out there on the field, and a great coach in Tim Nolan, and they're going to be prepared. So when you step back and you look at it, and we split the first 2 weeks, I mean, it could have been a lot worse.
Mm-hmm. And you got a home game next week at Dancy Field, and you got Casey Westfield coming in, and they seem to be smart and still a little bit right now as they lost again last night. So you got a chance of getting another win.
Yeah, well, we feel good about our chances this week. Or teams watching the film right now, and we're trying to learn from last night. But you're right. Casey comes in here, and 2 years ago, same type of situation where we had the back-to-back home games, week 2, week 3. We like that, and we beat Casey a couple years ago in a tight one. That's the first time we'd beaten Casey in a long, long time, and then of course we beat them last year at their place. So and they're down, down for Casey. They play played, like you said, Newton last night. That's a tough matchup for anybody. So they do have a couple kids, though. The Clark kid's a very, very good running back, and I think he's gone for 100 in each of his first two games this year. So, I mean, we by no means are going to lay down. We have a good week of practice like we did this past week and prepare for another opponent. And it doesn't matter who you're playing. And any win on a Friday night's a good win, and that's what we're going to prepare and try to do this week.
Oh, yeah. Danny, did you catch the fact he said they're watching film right now? What he's really trying to say is he's trying to get all that film and stuff out of the way so he can get all ready to watch the Fighting Illini later on today and his good buddy Lovie Smith. That's what he's talking about.
That's right? What the hurry is today?
I think that's what it is. Am I right, Brian? You're ready for some college football day, aren't you?
That's right. I told the guys last night, hey, good win, and we got film at 8, and I'll tell you, I'll give you the rest of the day off to watch Illini football at 9:30. So, but we encourage our kids to watch that stuff. There's a lot to be learned from watching on Saturdays and Sundays, and just stepping back and looking at what other teams are trying to do. Hey, did they run and play like us? And
sure.
And there's a lot of good stuff from watching that stuff. I mean, I'm not saying kids should be on the couch watching TV all the time, but it's very productive to watch, especially the college game, because those college offenses with the spread stuff run a lot of stuff that we run, and defensively, I tell them, hey, pick out something from them that we might see that we're coming up in the coming weeks. So, yeah, it's finally here, and I'm excited, and I can't wait to see what Lovie's got for us this year.
Well, and I think something that young kids can learn about when they're watching college football is the tackling technique. I mean, that is something that the college game, generally does very well, and you can learn a lot by watching those guys. Yeah,
you're right. Tackling's tough to teach, and there's different approaches to it out there, and we've kind of here at Florida kind of try to implement some of the Seattle Seahawk hawk tackling stuff, and we tell them too. There's good teams out there that tackle really, really well, and YouTube their highlights and watch them. But Illinois Lovie being the defensive type of guy, he's a good guy to try and emulate. Good guys on tackling, that sort of thing.
Well, Danny and I were just talking off mic here too. The fact that again, with Lovie finally having a chance to put some of his own recruits in there and get his system in, we're all really kind of anxious to see how the Illini do this year. Yeah,
me too. I hope. I know the university will be patient with Lovie, and I hope the fan base is too, and buy into what he's doing. Even as far as getting some commits for 2018, I've seen roll in some 3 or 4 star kids, and I think it'll be exciting to see some of his younger kids that he's gone out and got this year and be a big part of both sides of the ball. And I'm excited. I mean, they may not go bowling this year, but I really think if they stay the course and stay with Lovie, he's going to have things turned around there.
Yeah, they got Ball State today. Kickoff, I think, about 11 o'clock, isn't it? I think that's right. Yeah.
Yep, 11 o'clock.
So, and that's a home game, so hopefully they can start the season off on the right foot.
Yeah. And later on in the year, we're going to take the kids up there to a game, and I don't know if anyone, the coaches out there listening know that or not, but they'll offer a youth program tickets for high school groups, about $20 a ticket, and they get a free T-shirt and get to go on down on the field before the game and stuff, and just stuff like that. I love how the University of Illinois reaches out to the high school kids and involved with our programs and getting our kids up there to watch them play. It's a neat experience for them.
Yeah, Coach, I'm glad you brought that point forward. I mean, that's an excellent opportunity for a lot of teams right there to go up and just experience that college game day. That's something your kids got to look really forward to.
Yeah, you watch. I tell them to watch on TV, but being there in person, it's a whole different animal. And and I'm not, we don't have a U of I recruit on our team, and that's no secret to anybody. But U of I welcomes us to come up there and be a part of their program for a day and walk out there on the field and see the pregame routine that they go through, and just to be up close and personal with their athletes and their coaching staff and see how they're interacting with their kids. And I mean, it's U of I. That's Big Ten football right there. That's a big deal. And some of these kids, they just they don't have opportunities to get out and catch some of this stuff. It might be the only game they ever get to go to in their life, and if that's the case, if we can give them the opportunity to go up there and see one, that's worth it.
Yeah, I think that is awesome. So back to last night's game. Did you come out of the game healthy and everything? Everybody all right with the Wolves?
Yeah, we did. That was one thing, too. Like week one, we were pretty physical at the beginning of the game, but then things kind of waned off. I thought last night our guys, man, we came out flying to the ball and 4, 5, 6 guys to a tackle, and we were really, really physical. And we came out really healthy. And a lot of times that's, throwing that first punch, being physical and hitting them instead of being hit. That's a big difference. So we came out healthy and should have everybody ready for next week.
All right. Well, great. Well, again, congratulations on the win last night over Robinson.
Thank you.
Enjoy this holiday weekend, and best of luck as you prepare for Casey Westfield next week, all right?
Yeah, thanks a lot, Randy.
All right, Brian. Have a good weekend. Thanks.
Yeah, thank
Bye-bye.
you.
It's Brian Tackitt, head football coach of the Flora Wolves. Winners last night over Robinson, 43-21. They're now 1-1 on the season, and they'll be at home at Dancy Field next week to host Casey Westfield, a team that's 0-2. So Flora's got a pretty good chance to go up 2-1 if they can take care of business next week.
Well, and that's these games at the beginning of the season are just as important as the end of the season because you got to have those 5 victories to
That's the magic number. That is the magic number, 5 wins. When we come back, we're going to talk to Dan Mings of the Johnson City Indians. They got their first win of the season last night and a 100th career coaching victory for Coach Mings last night at Johnson City. We'll talk to him about that coming up next here on the Sports Couch. Stay tuned.
It's the local sports talk show that everyone is talking about. It's the Sports Couch on 90.9 The Vine and AreaSports.net.
.5 and 90.9 The Vine is proud to partner with Mount Vernon's newest family eatery, La Fiesta Mexican Restaurant. La Fiesta offers a family-friendly, Christian-owned, alcohol-free environment the whole family will enjoy. Located at 901 Prairie Avenue in Mount Vernon, La Fiesta offers daily specials that are easy on the family wallet. And children 5 and under eat free on Sundays. Their hours are 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days a week. La Fiesta Mexican Restaurant in Mount Vernon, a proud underwriter on Real Life Radio.
Many Americans over age 40 are on medications, and it's important to know how those medications interact with each other. Shoe Creek Pharmacy is your good neighbor pharmacy in downtown Wayne City, and they are very happy to consult with you about your medications at any time. They also offer prescriptions at competitive prices, and most insurance is accepted. You have a friend in the pharmacy business. Shoe Creek Pharmacy, your good neighbor pharmacy in downtown Wayne City.
And welcome back to the Sports Couch. You're live on a Saturday morning on 105.5 and 90.9 The Vine Radio, and also streaming live worldwide on both of our websites, with live video streaming at AreaSports.net and live audio streaming at WVYN.org. I'm Randy Olson, live in studio along with Danny Ouncemet. And last night in the Black Diamond Conference, as we mentioned earlier, as we went through the scoreboard, the Johnson City Indians get their first win of the season last night as they beat the Hamilton County Foxes 14-0. Joining us on the phone right now, the head coach of the Indians, that's Coach Dan Mings. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you this morning?
Great. Good to have you on the show, and congratulations on the win last night. It's good to have that first one under the belt, and you're now 1-1 on the season.
It is. I tell you what, it was a pretty tough-fought game. It was a lot of penalties and those types of things, with two teams that are, trying to find their way a little bit. But, yeah, it was great. We get the shutout win, and we got better from week 1 to week 2, so that's what we wanted.
Well, Coach, I'm not sure that it was just at your game last night the yellow flags was flying. Benton and Sparta, I heard them talking this morning a little bit, and they thought the opening ceremonies with all the flags of the countries was flying at Sparta last night.
That's funny, but, in our cases, it was two teams that are trying to find their way. Still making some mistakes and doing some things, along those lines. And, we were fortunate enough to make some plays and make a couple big plays, and that was the difference in the ball game.
We'll talk about this week's practice, because after that tough loss last week and not able to get much going offensively against Fairfield last week, How'd it go this week in practice as you started to prepare for the Foxes game last night?
Well, Randy, I think you know me well enough.
Well, I had to ask, you know.
Yeah, it was we'll call it an attention getter.
Okay.
We worked pretty hard this week in practice. We busted it a little bit and got after the kids and really pushed them and challenged them and, tried to pull every little coaching trick in the book out and, just get them refocused after a really poor showing, in week one. And, it worked. Our kids played hard and we played aggressive. Now we need to play aggressive without the aggressive penalties and those types of things that come along with just playing with emotion.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have to play with emotion and we have to play intelligent football. And, we had a couple times that I thought we could have scored, but penalties really hurt us,
Sure.
and we'll work on that this week.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Coach, that's kind of a week-to-week building experience. You put in your framework all summer long, then you get to play somebody and you begin to see things that you need to work on and tweak, and you just hope that after week one you don't have to go back and revamp a whole bunch of things saying, I don't think we're going to be capable of doing this.
Right, and you're dead on there, Danny. I mean, it's one of those things that that goes through every coach's mind when you spend all summer working on something, and it's like, okay, do we need to go back to whatever it was? Do we need to sort of scrap this and start over? And we didn't do that. We didn't. We sort of held the course and just got better at our craft. Just got better at the things that we were working on, and hopefully we'll make those gains again this week.
Well, that was one of my questions last week. Randy was checking; he didn't want to call you. I said I'd like to ask Dan Mings if his thought process last Saturday morning was, I'm not sure we can do this, or we just need to get better at this. And I myself, I really thought you knew what you wanted to do. You're good at evaluating your personnel, so I didn't think you was going to have to scrap everything and start over.
No, we just need to make sure that our kids can be successful, and we need it's good when you get a film,
Right.
And now you can game plan, and now you can find that one kid that maybe you could take advantage of on the other team, or find a mismatch,
Mm-hmm.
or the things that you do to prepare. Having that 1 week under your belt to do that is pretty beneficial. To be honest with you, so we're not in the scrap it mode, but it's just 14 points that we scored this week, and we need to find more ways to put points on the board.
Well, that is always the challenge, but hey, you also have to remember you went probably against one of the best teams in the conference last week. They go to Chester last night. Chester's got them on the ropes a little bit in the second quarter, and then they come out and throw a shutout in the second half, and they're not going to give up a lot of points this year.
Well, and I think we didn't do Fairfield any justice week one because we didn't test them at all. I mean, we didn't do anything to test them or make them work, so and then Chester had the advantage of seeing the film.
Right.
And them being able to prepare in those types of things. But Fairfield's not going to get beat this season. I just don't see it happening. El Dorado may have something to say about that. El Dorado's, a solid football team, and they're going to be good. But I'm going to tell you something. Fairfield is good. Just for anybody that doesn't know anything about football or what's going on, they're good. So.
Well, next week you play on a Saturday. You go to Vienna next week and play in week 3, and so you got an extra day, so to speak, to prepare for that.
Well, we do. We got an extra day to heal up, and today, me and my brother, my son, and his son, and uncles, and we're going to our deer property, and we're going to work out there today, and we're actually going to take this one day off and just relax a little bit and do some things with the family and just sort of enjoy this beautiful weather that we've got right now. And, thank goodness for that extra day. I mean, we all need to decompress a little bit after these first 2 weeks. And this is a great time to have that Saturday game.
Well, you're right, Coach. You get to that point in the season that sometimes you just need to step away for a day. Everybody's, it's been a tough week of practice at Johnson City, I'm sure, and everybody just needs to be away from each other just a little bit, and things will look a whole lot better on Monday.
Oh, I think so. That's what the hope is. Just give everybody a day off, just to decompress. Let the kids soak this in. The win that they got, and just not relax, but just calm down, collect your thoughts, and get your wits about you, and say, okay,
well,
now let's reevaluate.
Sure.
Because this is going to be the third game of the season, so we're 1/3 of the way done. So then we evaluate where we're at and what we need to do, and try to bank the best decisions that we can to give us a chance to be successful this year.
Coach, that's pretty amazing. Next Friday night, already you're going to be 1/3 of the way done. That's hard to imagine already, isn't it?
Yeah, you wait forever, and you got all the summers and but the thing about football, you get to play once a week, and you only get 9 weeks, and it's one of those things that, my gosh, it goes so fast, and that's the thing that we talk to our seniors about every year, and my coach, Coach Woodward, he started this, and I never forgot it, and I tell my kids, that bell only rings 9 times.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be able to answer that bell every time that it rings. You have to be able to answer the bell. And if you're not ready or capable to do that, you don't get it tomorrow. In football, you don't get it tomorrow. You don't get to play Friday, then again on Saturday, and, maybe a Thursday of the next week. You don't get to do that. You get one shot to give it everything you got and get out there and perform the best that you can. And there's only 9 chances that you're assured of. So, and it goes so fast, and you have to be ready when that doggone bell rings. You better be answering the door.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because if you're not, and the other team is, you're going to go home with that loss, and it's going to be a long season.
Yeah, and there's who knows what the season's going to end up for us, but and football's different. You always hear the stuff. Play every play like it's your last, because you don't know when it's going to be. Play every game like it's your last game, because you don't know if that's going to be your last game. And I think that's true in this sport more than probably every other sport. You only get so many chances to do this, and unless you're one of those talented few that get to go and play in college, it's over fast. It's over fast. I think that's why football has an attraction, because it's finite. It finishes. It's not like, you can get a group of 22 buddies to go out and get in full pads and play a pickup game on a Saturday afternoon. So, we talk to our kids about that, and we put a little bit of not pressure maybe, but we put that in their minds. This is something, guys, that will end. And to get everything that you want to get out of it, you have to put everything you got into it. And I think that's been a pretty good recipe for success with how I coach over the years, and it's just what it is, and I think that's what makes this a great game.
Well, Coach, you lead by example, and you put every ounce of energy you have into preparation each week and everything else. So, you set a good role model for your kids, and I think they've adapted well to your schemes. And the best part about this is you're 1-1 now instead of 0-2, and you need 4 more victories to get yourself into the playoff hunt, and then you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I didn't know I had an option not to work hard, and not to push every second, push everybody that I'm associated with. It's just one of those things that, I didn't know that was an option, and hopefully my kids sort of pick up on that, and when they leave a program that I'm sort of involved with, I want them to know that it was their hard work and their dedication, and hopefully later in life when things get tough, and you both know sometimes things get tough, and it's, are you going to work hard enough to make it right, and so hopefully those are the things that we teach our kids in our program, and they understand along the way. And 1-2 beats the pants off of being 0-2. Mm-hmm. Or 1-1 beats the pants off being 0-2. So we'll take it, and we'll just keep working hard.
Well, we can't let you go without mentioning that last night's win was monumental in your career. It was your career win number 100 last night, and it's not a lot of coaches that get to that in football. So that was a big win last night, and you'll have a chance to reflect and look back, on your coaching career one day and realize that, wow, that's really something.
Well, and you know what? I appreciate that now. And the thing that I sort of told the kids and the fans last night, the 100 wins sort of goes after my name, and I will never forget that, and I appreciate it. It's something that like you say, not many people get to, but the truth of the matter is, I have very little to do with it. The assistant coaches that come out and bust their tails every day, and the staffs that I've had over the years that are just such dedicated men to kids, and then all the kids that came through that believed in what I was asking them to do, and the parent support and the booster clubs and all those other things, guys. I mean, that's what makes a person successful. It is not something that you do on your own. You can't do it on your own. And for me to be one of those fortunate few that have had the luxury of having great people around me, it's pretty special.
Well, you have had a lot of good players and certainly some good coaches that you've had the pleasure of working with, but I wouldn't say that you didn't have anything to do with it, because I know better than that, and Danny knows better than that too. You've had a lot to do with it, but we tip our cap to you this morning and say congratulations not only on the win last night for this season, but also for your career, and hope that there's many more to follow, Coach. So.
All right. Thank you, Randy. Thanks, Danny. I appreciate it very much.
All right. And you have yourself a great weekend. Enjoy that hunting, and I'm sure you'll probably enjoy some college football maybe along the way, too. Huh?
I absolutely will.
Yeah. All right. Take care.
Have a good weekend,
Talk
Dan.
to you later. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye, guys.
That's Dan Mings. He's the head football coach of the Johnson City Indians. He's got his 100th career win last night. Again, not a lot of guys have done that, Danny. That's some rare company. In football, it's really tough to get to 100 wins.
Well, you got to be.
You only play 9 games a year.
That's right.
Regular season.
You got to be a long stayer. You got to have a lot of success along the way. And, he was pointing out all the people that's around him. But you got to surround yourself with good people.
Right.
And then when they see the type of person that Dan Mings is, who wouldn't want to be around him? Who wouldn't want to be associated with Dan Mings?
Right.
There's people you want to associate yourself with. There's people I want to associate myself with. And then there's people I want to run from, And so he deserves more credit than he wants to give himself, but that's the type of guy he is. He'd rather let it go to somebody else than stand there. But I guarantee you it was a special moment for him.
Yeah, I'm sure that it was. Well, when we come back, we're going to visit with Kent Williams, Hall of Fame basketball player both at Mount Vernon and at SIU. He is now the new head basketball coach at St. Louis de Smet University. We'll talk to him about that coming up next on the Sports Couch. Stay tuned.
It's the local sports talk show that everyone is talking about. It's the Sports Couch on 90.9 The Vine and AreaSports.net.
This is your home for best Christian music.
WVYN, Blueford, Wayne City, Fairfield, Mount Vernon.
And now on Translator, W288CO Centralia, broadcasting at 105.5.
A service of Real Life Radio Foundation.
The best Christian music. 90.9 The Vine.
Monthly financial support of local Christian radio is provided by Home Source Warehouse in Mount Vernon. Located 4 miles north of Mount Vernon on Route 37, Home Source Warehouse offers a warehouse full of quality furniture and mattresses with legendary service. Open Thursday and Friday 10 to 6, Saturday 10 to 3. You can find them on Facebook, and their website is homesourcewarehouse.net. Their phone number is 204-5515. Home Source Warehouse, where style is affordable. 105.5 105.5 and 90.9 The Vine is thankful for the ministry partnership with Country Bob's All-Purpose Sauce in Centralia. Country Bob's product line includes the original all-purpose sauce, seasoning salt, barbecue sauce, spicy all-purpose sauce, honey habanero, apple chipotle, and marinara. Country Bob's is located on U.S. Highway 51 south of Centralia and can be reached by calling 800-373-2140.
Welcome back to the Sports Couch here live on a Saturday morning on 105.5 and 90.9 The Vine Radio, and also streaming live on both of our websites. Live video streaming right now at AreaSports.net and live audio streaming at WVYN.org. I'm Randy Olson, live in studio along with Danny Onselman. And joining us on the phone right now is the new boys head basketball coach of St. Louis de Smet High School, a very rich tradition, storied program over there in St. Louis, located out by Creve Coeur, and that would be Mount Vernon's very own Kent Williams. Good morning, Kent. Good to have you on the show.
Thanks, Randy. Appreciate it.
Great to have you, and congratulations on the new coaching gig. I know that you've got to be very, very excited about it.
Yeah, I am. I'm excited to get a shot to be a head coach and get to take over for a program that does have a lot of tradition to it. And, been down a little bit of late, so got some work to do to try to get it back going.
Yeah, anybody that knows anything about de Smet High School over there in St. Louis knows that they have had a lot of success in years past. In fact, I think they have a total of 5 state championships under their belt if you go back in time. But I saw your interview on Channel 5, KSDK TV in St. Louis with Frank Cusimano, and I think Frank's actually an alumni of that school, is he not? And
He is. There's actually quite a few alums in St. Louis and involved in the media, so I think that's why it's been kind of a whirlwind here the last few days.
Yeah, you've had a chance to talk to a lot of people. But I think the other part of that, though, is just the fact that a lot of people like to follow your career, Ken, and look and see what you've done. Not only, your career at Mount Vernon, where you're all-time leading scorer, and, of course, at SIU Carbondale, where you're the second all-time leading scorer, but you had college stops there at Purdue and also Missouri State and Tennessee, and most recently at SIU Edwardsville, where you've been assistant coach at each of those stops. And I know you've always wanted that opportunity to be a head coach, and now you're getting that chance, and it's a little bit different setting, but it's a very intriguing setting being at de Smet.
Yeah, it is. And, there's a lot of similarities to college. College basketball, when you look at de Smet, I mean, there's legally there's a little bit of recruiting that goes on with it, but it's more about developing your brand because, when you're at a private school, you don't have the feeder system, so you're kind of reaching out to the whole St. Louis City, the whole St. Louis County, and now you're building your brand and a style of play that you're going to want to attract a lot of kids to come play in, and also, talk about the skill development. And so when you look at the social media and different things that's out there, there's a lot of marketing to it as well. So you want younger kids to come to your camps and come and see what you're all about as a coach, and see how you treat the kids, see how you run your program in general. So there are some similarities to it, but I am excited to finally get a chance to run my program. Been around some great coaches going all the way back from grade school on, not just the college guys I've been with, but everybody I've gone through here at Mount Vernon. I've been very fortunate, very blessed to have great coaches and great teammates that allowed me to fall in love with the game, and still doing it to this day.
Have you had a chance to talk to Doug Creel any since you took the head coaching job there at de Smet?
I have, and I was talking to him when de Smet approached me. I let him know that, and we kind of stayed in touch through that. And then we actually did have a long conversation yesterday. So
great.
I am in town, so we're hoping to get together and maybe talk a little bit of basketball.
Yeah. Well, I know you probably don't have any effect on the schedule just yet, but I could see down the road where where your team could be playing perhaps Greg Lieb and Belleville Altoff there, just across the river from you, and maybe at least, if not anything else, maybe some summer games or something with Mount Vernon and maybe some other teams here on the Illinois side, which could be fun.
Yeah, it would be. It'd be fun, every once in a while, or maybe once or twice a year to bring the team over and play an Illinois team. And I'm sure we'll cross, just on the other side of the river quite a bit, doing some games like that. But it's always hard to want to play especially for me, playing somebody like Doug, who was my coach, and look at him as a mentor, and you somebody that you share ideas with all the time. You don't hardly want to play in a regular season game against each other, but getting together in the summer where we can go against each other and win and losing doesn't really matter as much, and then we can sit and talk and break down each other's ideas. Hey, what'd you like that I was doing? Or, I could tell him some things that, how we were able to score on him. So just be able to help each other out. So it's a coaching fraternity out there, and we all try to help each other out. And but yeah, I would love to try to get some games over this way at some point.
Mm-hmm. Well, for those people who are watching our live video stream now on AreaSports.net, I've put a picture up on the screen, Ken, of you having one of your earliest meetings and kind of getting acquainted with some of the athletes there at DisMed, and walk us through what I'm seeing there in that photo and what it was like to first start talking to some of the kids and the athletes there at the school.
Well, it was exciting, and high school is a little different because some of the guys that are returning, there's probably some kids in there that haven't even played yet. I don't even know. So, but it was exciting to get introduced and talk to him the first time. And the first thing I said to him when he introduced me, I just said, "All right, guys, there's no talking. We're going to get dressed and get right after it." And I was just joking with them. They all started clapping. They were all excited. So, they were, they've gone a month without a head coach and knowing the direction that they're going, and some of them have made big commitments to go to that school, and might have been based on basketball. So, but having that first conversation with the guys, and it was fun to get in front of them the first time. So, it'd be more exciting next week to finally get on the court with the guys and start working with them.
Mm-hmm. Well, I got to tell you, I've already got a text message this morning from one of the coaches over there in the St. Louis metro area that you'll compete against. I got a message from Andy Bass this morning at Fort Zumwalt. And, of course, Andy was in Mount Vernon and at Waltonville one time, and I guess he's over there at Fort Zumwalt. But he said he's looking forward to competing against Kent Williams at DisMed. So that's a nice message to get this morning.
Yeah, and actually I've spoken with Andy a few times throughout the past, especially from the recruiting side of it when I was doing the college recruiting. So, but there's, as you see it, there's all through St. Louis, all through the metro area. There's a lot of connections. I've met a lot of people either through playing against them. Some of them were my teammates. Some of them I just met through recruiting from, like I said, the college side of it. I got a text from Stetson Harrison the other day. He's at East St. Louis. We were obviously teammates at SIU Carbondale. One of my other teammates, Brian Turner from SIU, he's head coach at St. Mary's over there. So,
oh wow,
there's going to be a lot of connections and going up against a lot of friends, and it'll be fun.
Yeah. Danny Ounselman's here in studio with me as well, and he wants to fire a few questions at you too. I'm sure. Danny, go ahead.
Ken, I was just wondering, what do you think will be one of the biggest challenges for you going? You've been basically around the college game, and now you're going to go down to the high school level, but the athletes you have or have the opportunity to have will probably be like some college players there at DisMed.
Yeah, and that's true, and that's one of the reasons why the job is intriguing to me, is because you can get some high-level talented kids in there. A couple of the things that would be different for me based on college is, from a recruiting aspect, it's, you got to be careful on what you're allowed to say and not allowed to say when you're talking to kids and families, but you're also, getting in front of 8th grade, 7th grade, 6th grade kids, so it's a lot younger, and it's really more probably talking to the parents and seeing if going to the school is feasible for them, and kind of that route. The other thing, and I talked to Doug about this a lot yesterday, was I'm going to oversee 4 different teams. I got the varsity, got the JV, and then we have 2 freshman teams, and we've got a really good freshman class coming in. And the challenge is going to be, hey, do I throw them in the JV? Do I throw them in the varsity right away? What level do you put them at? Kind of like running the St. Louis Cardinals. You got your AA, your AAA. When do you call guys up? And that's something that's completely different than what you deal with at college. Because at college, you just got 13 guys on scholarship. Hey, we'll figure it out. We're going to play the best guys. So some of it is, when do you want to bring a freshman up and give them that taste? And, fortunately, I've done it a little bit. When I was a freshman, Doug threw me right in the varsity. But we also talked about, hey, if you're not getting a lot of minutes, maybe you need to go back down to JV and, get as many reps as you can at the game.
Well, it's all about opportunities, and when you get an opportunity, you've got to be able to seize that moment, but you also want to be able to compete at a level. And for a coach, that's an important thing, isn't it, Kent, to be able to put those kids in a position to be successful.
Exactly, and that's what it comes down to. You know, I obviously you want to win every game that you play. I mean, that's human nature. That's where we're all at.
If you don't, you better quit before you start.
Exactly. You're not in the right business if you're not trying to win. So
well, even in the game of life, you know, if you don't play the win, you're going to get stepped on like a bug.
No question. And the big part of this, the equation is, like I said, with these young guys, and you know, you might have a large number of guys that are maybe able to play a little bit of varsity basketball, but you know, you want to put them in position to see some success and get their confidence up, and you know, don't just throw them right into the wolves and get beat down right away. So you want to build them up and get them going, get them feeling good before maybe they make that next step.
Well, I'm sure it's going to be a very exciting time. I'm sure the community over there is excited about you. I'm sure they're looking forward to seeing what you're going to be able to do with that program, Kent.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm excited as well. I think there's a lot of room to grow there, but you've got something to sell as well. You know, you've got a rich tradition, and this Met's name goes a long ways with people in St. Louis, and so now it's just about getting some of those kids into the school, and then let's start working with them and see what we can do.
Yeah, let's give you a chance to talk a little bit more about the school, Kent, because it's not just like that school's there just to recruit athletes. That's not what it's about. I mean, it's a strong academic school, too, isn't it?
It is, and it's known as the strongest academic school in St. Louis for the private schools. I mean, there's 750 kids in the school. It's an all-boys school, and you know, it's not cheap to go there. But you know, I guess based on the way it works is based on parents' income and things like that. There's a kind of a ratio that it depends on how much that you pay to go there. So, but they're also, you know, they really put a lot of emphasis on, you know, developing these young men all around. You know, they really strive to be successful in the classroom, really strive to be successful people in the community, and that's what also drew me to the job. Is, you know, as much as I love to win, we're coaching high school kids, and it's about developing them and getting them ready for that next level, getting them ready for college basketball, getting them ready for college in general. So, and I've been fortunate with the guys that I've worked for. We've done a lot of that too. Is a lot of the just personal development in each kid. So when they left college, they were prepared to go on a job interview or, you know, that next phase of life. So with me being at the college level for so long, I know what to expect for these guys to go to that next level. So I can help prepare them for everything, you know, basketball, or what it's going to be like in the classroom, what they need to do to get into school, all those aspects that goes into it.
Well, Ken, I think that's a very strong selling point on yourself. You know, a lot of times these high school kids, they'll be listening to a coach and they're sitting there thinking, yeah, sure, right. What's this guy really know about this? You can look at him and say, hey, boys, I've been there, done this. Been there and done this. I know what it takes to compete at that next level. I know what it takes to have success at that next level. And I know what it takes to be successful in life. So, yeah, you can say that, but I've been there and done that, and I think that'll be a great selling point on your part.
Yeah, and then it's also important just you got to gain the trust of the kids and gain the trust of the parents, and that comes with developing a relationship with them. And the only way that happens is if you care for them. So just showing that you care for them overall. If I only talk basketball with these guys, you'll lose them, and that's not what's even the overall important thing for their development. So I show that I care about them. If I sit there and I'm talking about a kid and, hey, these are the classes you got to take in order to be eligible to go to the next level and play college basketball, or even just to get in college in general, now you're really looking out for the well-being of the student athlete.
Well, Ken, I'm sure there's a lot of our listeners right now that might be wondering, well, how did this job come about for Kent Williams? Because you had not long ago resigned from the assistant coaching job there at SIU Edwardsville, and you were working for the Nevco Scoreboard Company and had a large territory, of course, calling on schools and different other places that would need scoreboards. So did you pursue this job, or did they pursue you? How did it all come about?
Well, we were actually just got back from vacation. I took a week off, and as soon as I got back, I had a voicemail sitting there from John Patel, who's the new athletic director there at Dismet, and I didn't even realize Blake had left and went to the D League, or I guess it's the G League now they're calling it, with the Spurs. So they sought me out, and they said, hey, we talked to a lot of people and the people I trust in this profession about the basketball side of it. Everybody's brought your name up and said you should be my first call, and that's where it started. So called them right back, and we had a great conversation, got to know a little bit more about the job and what it was all going to entail, and I already had a great perception of this mat in general, just like everybody else. Plus, I've recruited some of the kids that gone to school there, so I've been into the school, and I kind of always going up to it thought, man, this is a nice place. This would be for a high school job, this would be a great job. And to see it come full circle, it's like, hey, this is an opportunity I can't pass up.
Yeah, that's what's really neat about it is you had that relationship already because you went to DeSmet to recruit for some of the colleges that you were a recruiter and assistant coach for. So, yeah, you had that familiarity already, so I think that's really neat. But they didn't just automatically hand you this job, though, did they? I mean, you had to jump through a lot of hoops and go through a lot of stages before you got the job, right?
Oh, yeah, it was. I've gone on a couple of college interviews for jobs, and this was this was just like that. I mean, I had probably a 1-hour phone interview right off the bat. Then it got in front of a committee that they put together, and got drilled by them. We did some talks, and then came back the next week, and then sat in front of the principal and more of an academic group committee they put together. So yeah, it went through about 3 or 4 stages to go through the process, and then finally I got the call, and they said I was the guy for the job.
That's fantastic. And in addition to coaching the basketball program there, what will be some of your other duties and things that you'll do there at DeSmet?
Right off the bat, I'll be teaching some PE classes, and then also helping with admissions, which would be a great for learning more about the school. And from the admissions is where you kind of do the, I hate to use the word recruiting because that's really not what it is, but that's where you start to reach out to the younger kids in the community, and you can get out and speak about DeSmet in general. So that's a great tool to have where I can be a part of the admissions, and I can get out to the schools a little bit with our director.
Yeah, I agree. And for those people who don't really know where DeSmet High School is located at over there in the St. Louis area, explain exactly where you're located at.
It's in Creve Coeur, which is on 270 on the west side of town. So if you were coming from the Illinois side and you took 6440 all the way through, right when you hit 270, it's just slightly north of that. Mm-hmm. So you can see it from 270.
Gotcha. Is the basketball schedule already posted on the school's website, or if not, how can people in this area get access to what the schedule will be next year?
I don't believe the schedule's posted yet, and what I've been told is we may need 1 or 2 more games to still go get. I've tried to get some of those answers, but we've had a lot of things to talk about and go through over the last few days since I signed the contract.
Sure.
And that's one of them that we got to nail down and get the schedule set and finished. But
yeah,
one thing I want to do is I want to get get a website really up and running where it's strictly a basketball website. So if people want to come and look up, almost like a college website, they want to go to our basketball site. They'll be able to see everything that's going on with our program, have some videos up of our practices, just kind of make it open for everyone to see what's going on at DeSmet.
Oh, I think that'll be a great tool, and that'll be great for the fans as well as potential recruits as well. That's an awesome idea. Well, when you get that done and the schedule is official and put out there, be sure and let us know so we can share it with other people here. Okay?
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to have as many people come out to the games as possible and come check us out.
Yeah, absolutely. Kent, we'll let you go. Again, congratulations on the new coaching job. We're anxious to see what you're able to do there at DeSmet, and thanks for joining us on the Sports Couch, and have yourself a great holiday weekend, all right?
All right, no problem. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
All right, take care. Bye-bye. That's Kent Williams, and he is going to do some special things over there. I believe he will bring them back to prominence, Danny. I know that they had a tough season last year. I think they actually had a losing record last year, which that doesn't happen too often over there. I think they were something like 12-16 and maybe 1-7 in their league. But, it's tough competition that they play, but I think he's the right guy for the job, don't you?
Oh, yeah, and by being able to go to the school where basically he can recruit players from anywhere in the Metro East area that he wants or can persuade to come there with all the contacts and everything he has. Look for look for the college recruiters to be visiting his doorstep pretty regular.
Yeah, I think it's going to be real interesting to see what happens. Well, when we come back, we're going to shift gears and talk some soccer as Coach Vimal Patel of the Mount Vernon Rams soccer program will join us next on the Sports Couch. Stay tuned.
It's the local sports talk show that everyone is talking about. It's the Sports Couch on 90.9 The Vine and AreaSports.net.
Roadhouse Harley-Davidson is putting Mount Vernon, Illinois back on the map. At Roadhouse Harley-Davidson, we look forward to meeting each unique customer and welcome all motorcycle enthusiasts. We have it all from new and used bike inventory, motor clothes, parts, and a service department that is second to none. Roadhouse Harley-Davidson is the newest full-service Harley-Davidson dealer in the nation, located right off Interstate 57 in Mount Vernon, Illinois, open 7 days a week. Rest your boots and your bike at Roadhouse.
Crawford Plumbing, LLC in Woodlawn is licensed, bonded, insured, and ready to serve your household and business plumbing needs. From leaky faucets to complete plumbing systems and repair, Crawford Plumbing in Woodlawn is a full-service plumbing company. They can be reached at 618-242-3360. Crawford Plumbing in Woodlawn is a proud underwriting sponsor of Real Life Radio.
This is Kima for Meager Pest Control. We are honored to partner in radio ministry with 105.5 and 90.9 The Vine. Meager Pest Control is Christian-owned and veteran-owned and offers effective pest control services using industry-leading products with proven methods of application. Meager Pest Control covers your residential and commercial pest control needs.
Call my daddy at 315-5212 or find us on Facebook. Meager Pest Control!
Well, that's a tough act to follow.
I tell you what, those girls are something.
They are. Welcome back to the Sports Couch here live on a Saturday morning on 105.5 and 90.9 The Vine Radio. Also streaming live worldwide on both of our websites. We have live video streaming now at AreaSports.net and live audio streaming at WVYN.org. I'm Randy Olson, live at studio along with Danny Alsman. I'm going to talk some high school soccer right now with the head soccer coach of the Mount Vernon Rams, and that's Coach Vimal Patel. Coach Patel, hey, thanks for joining us this morning on the Sports Couch. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. And, hey, you're having some success so far this year with the Rams soccer program. Tell us how it's going so far.
Well, it's going pretty good, not too bad. We had a tournament in St. Louis, and we ended up, we had some good competition. We ended up coming second place in the tournament, and we had our first conference game last week against Carbondale, and we lost that game 4-0, but they're a very good team, and today we got Teutopolis at 11 o'clock at home.
And it's a great day for soccer, so if people want to come out and watch the Rams play today, you can see them take on Teutopolis today at home in Mount Vernon at 11 o'clock on Harrison Field, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Fantastic. I don't know if you've got your roster in front of you or not, but if you could perhaps go through some of the names of some of your key players this year and just signal out some of the guys and then brag on them a little bit.
Oh, sure, not a problem. We got Jackson Reinhardt and Cameron Steele in the back. Defense, they're our key players from last year. Noah Burke is our first-year varsity starting keeper, and he's played a really, really good game. The first 5 games that we played, he's done a really good job for us. Midfield, we got Jeremiah Fitzgerald and Jack Hall, who's done a really good job up there. And then we have Noah Heitmeyer and Blaine Linton that are returners. And Noah was a freshman last year with 9 goals. So, look forward to seeing these guys come together. Sort out, and after that, I think we should have a really good season.
Mm-hmm. Well, you mentioned the fact you got second place over there in the Metro Cup, and you did. You saw some really good competition over there, didn't you, which is only going to make your team better.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, we saw Mascuda twice. I mean, they're a very good, very well-coached team. Then we had Civic Memorial and Metro East Lutheran. Modern Day, we beat 1-0. Blaine Litton scored in about minute 20 into the game. And then the boys played the second half kind of like a defensive strategy, and then they just held them on to the end of the game. Played really hard, really tough. I guess, they gave everything they had and didn't have much for the championship game, but they worked together really well.
Yeah, 2-0 shutout over Metro East Lutheran, another quality team over there in the Metro East area. And it sounds like that Mascoutah team is really good.
Oh, that Mascoutah team is really, really good. They got 2 forwards and 2 midfields that are just very, very fast, very tall, very skilled. And I really think I was talking to the Marion coach, Rob Underwood, and I told him, I go, you know what? He asked me how that team was, and I said, you know what, Rob? Marion and Carbondale have a very good team every year, and I guarantee you they'd probably beat you guys on a one-on-one matchup. But, I mean, these guys are really good.
Mm-hmm. Well, soccer is a sport, and Danny and I were talking about it here a moment ago. Soccer is a sport where you've really, really got to be in shape, don't you? Because it's very demanding in many ways.
Oh, yeah, definitely. The average player, in a game runs between, 3 to 6 miles a game. And my boys, when we had our double days, the first day they ran close to about 7 miles, 5 miles the next day, and then probably about 5 miles the following day. Every day at practice, we do a time mile. They have to all make it by under 7 minutes, and every single one makes it. And just you have to be well conditioned to play that game.
Yeah, Coach. Not only that, but there's some pretty physical hits and things go on during these soccer games, and they're just out there in their shorts and T-shirts and their soccer shoes, and some kids get beat up once in a while, don't they?
Yes, they do. The matchup that we had against Modern Day, the game that we won 1-0, it was a physical game. I mean, at half, I told the guys, you know what, they're going to be playing physical. We need to start playing physical also. I mean, there's a difference between playing physical and playing dirty. I go, we don't play dirty, we play physical. So, that game was unfortunate. One of our key right midfielders, Chapel Davis, ended up getting hurt and broken collarbone, so he's going to be out for the season. And, that's just unfortunate, when you have a really tough matchup and when the game gets kind of physical, sometimes that's the outcome.
Mm-hmm. Well, you mentioned you got Teotopoulos today at 11 o'clock there at home. What else you got coming up on the schedule for Rams soccer?
We got Effingham on Wednesday at home. And then I believe, I think we go to Murfreesboro. But I think we have a home game on Thursday. I can't remember off the top of my head. I don't have it with me. But we have a home game today, Wednesday, and Thursday. So come out and support the high school.
Yeah, absolutely. Good chance to see the Rams play today and again on Wednesday at home. So I want to encourage the fans to come out and watch the Rams soccer program play and keep up the good work, Coach, and hope you get some more W's along the way. Okay?
Yeah, well, thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
You bet, and good luck today, all right?
Thank you.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye. That's Coach Vimal Patel of the Rams soccer program, and they got second place, Danny, in that Metro Cup, which was some pretty tough competition over there. And they got a win over Modern Day, got a win over Metro East Lutheran, and then ran to a buzzsaw with Mascoutah. But he's doing some good things with that soccer program.
Yeah, it looks like the Mount Vernon program's up and coming, running hard, and look like but they've got that good junior soccer program up there at Mount Vernon.
Well,
I know several kids that go up there and
that's
compete
right.
in that. And you know what? If you ask them what sport they wanted to play, they'll tell you soccer.
How about that? And you heard him say that in an average match, you run 3 to 5 miles in an average match.
Well, that was what we was talking about being the condition.
Yeah.
Because it is just running and sprinting, and it's a very fast-paced game, and it isn't for the weak at heart.
I thought it was interesting that he said in practice they run a timed mile, and you have to run it in under 7 minutes, and they all do.
I'm surprised Clint Turner ain't trying to steal these soccer players.
Yeah, we'll have to ask Clint about that. So that was really interesting. And it looks like he's got...
Maybe they ought to get a co-op just for practice. Maybe the soccer team ought to run for Clint Turner in cross-country meets.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, we'll have to look into that a little bit and talk to him about that. Yeah. Well, we've talked football, we've talked basketball this morning, we've talked soccer, and when we come back, Danny, we're going to talk some volleyball, aren't we?
Yep. Jason Hall will join us.
Jason Hall from Hamilton County Foxes joins us next to talk Foxes volleyball. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
It's the local sports talk show that everyone is talking about. It's the Sports Couch on 90.9 The Vine and AreaSports.net.
Heard the old saying, practice makes perfect. Well, there's actually a lot of truth to that, and you can get one-on-one instruction in baseball, softball, basketball, as well as speed and agility drills at the Sports Zone in Fairfield. The Sports Zone has been in business for quite some time now and has helped many area boy and girl athletes excel in their sport of choice. Lessons and practice times are available at convenient times that meet your schedule. The Sports Zone is located on Delaware Street in Fairfield, and we appreciate their support.
Most of us tend to take our printed materials for granted, but it's hard to imagine life today without print. Printing is communicating. Whether it's promotional, operational, or administrative, we're here to meet your printing needs. Peacock Print and Marketing has been serving the people in Southern Illinois since 1977. We're located at 1112 Jordan Street in Mount Vernon. Our phone number is 242-3157. Our website is peacockprinting.com. We believe in honoring God by serving our clients through print and marketing and helping them reach their full potential.
Real Life Radio is thankful for the underwriting support of Jeff Donahoe Insurance Agency in Mount Vernon. Jeff Donahoe Insurance Agency has offered multi-peril crop insurance, providing revenue protection for farmers since 1978. They are located at 1121 Broadway in Mount Vernon. Their toll-free phone number is 866-276-7626. Jeff Donahoe Insurance Agency, the crop insurance specialist.
And welcome back to the Sports Couch. You're live on a Saturday morning on 105.5 and 90.9 The Vine Radio, and also streaming live worldwide on both of our websites. We have live video streaming at AreaSports.net and live audio streaming at WVYN.org. I'm Randy Olson in studio along with Danny Ounselman. And Danny, it's time to talk a little high school volleyball this morning, isn't it?
Yeah, the volleyball season's just cranking up, getting underway, and team that looks like they're going to be one of the better teams in the Black Diamond Conference is Coach Jason Hall's Lady Foxes. And Jason, before we bring you up front, I got a big hello to you from Tony Phelps, former Benton Ranger coach. He said he coached against you a lot of years, and he wanted to wish you a happy Labor Day weekend.
All right. Welcome aboard here, Jason.
Well, thanks for having me. That's great to hear. I'm very respectful of Tony Phelps. He's a great volleyball coach and definitely somebody to look up for. Taught me a lot of good things and was always very generous to me every time we played Benton, and had some of the best teams around, and it's great to hear from him.
Well, your Lady Foxes are off to a pretty good start on the season. Talk a little bit about what you've seen here in the early going of your Lady Foxes.
We're 1-1 right now. We played our first home game about a week and a half ago against Crab Orchard, and had a little first game jitters, but got them out of the way and won that game and did a lot of good things. And then we had a little bit of a mess up in the schedule, so we had about a week and a half off before we played our next game. Played Thompsonville on Thursday night at Thompsonville, and Jerry Warren always has a great team and very competitive, and it went 3 tough matches, and we let going away and in 3, and so had a little too many errors, I think, and they're just a good team, got some good hitters, and we let them get the best of us, and so we fell to them, but we get to see them again next week, so we're hoping that we can pick up a win next week over them. But yeah, we're looking pretty good so far. I'm pretty happy with what I've seen. We've got a few things we need to work on, but I think we're going to have a good season.
Well, to lose to a Thompsonville team, I seen where Coach Warren picked up his 500th coaching victory in volleyball here a week or so ago. So, you didn't go against a bad team right there by any means. They kind of live and die that volleyball there in Thompsonville. But talk a little bit about your Lady Foxes team and some of your key players and some of the young ladies that folks need to look forward to seeing this season.
Okay, well, I've got 21 girls this year. We've got 6 freshmen, 8 sophomores, 4 juniors, and 3 seniors. So if you look at our numbers, we look young. But I do have some experienced players back at the varsity level. Got Catherine Drone, Ramsey Clark, and Kaylee Dotson, who were all starters last year on our regional winning team, and led the team in kills, which is nice. This is really the first year in my coaching that I've been lucky enough to get all my hitters back. Usually you have maybe a couple of good seniors that are hitters and 1 or 2 juniors who are hitters, and you always lose somebody. But this year, my top 3 hitters are back, which is very nice. Catherine and Ramsey are going to hit strong side, outside for us, and Kaylee's going to play middle. And I've had a lot of good hitters over the years, Danny. As you know, you've watched a lot of Lady Foxes volleyball, and these are probably 3 of the best I've had. I mean, they are solid hitters all the way around, and just really tough, hardcore players. And
those three young ladies are very well-rounded athletes, not just in volleyball, Jason, but all-around athletes. And that's a point that gets lost sometimes, I think, with this kids wanting to be specialized in one sport. Here's 3 young ladies that are well-rounded, compete in a lot of sports for Hamilton County High School, and don't you think that makes them better players all around?
Oh, yes, definitely. I've always said that. I've always said that some of my best players were players who played volleyball, basketball, and either softball or ran track. They stay in better shape. They're more well-rounded. They got a lot of different skills, and they're better competitors. I mean, I've always agreed with that. I think playing more than one sport is the best way to go.
Well, I know some of those young ladies that play volleyball for you to open the season. Last year when it came around the basketball season, I seen some of them around the school and stuff there, and I said to them, well, how you? Oh, they said, we are so sore. Said, we can't believe what muscles we use for volleyball, that about half of those we don't even use for basketball. They were just amazed at how hard the first week of basketball practice was on some muscles that they don't use for volleyball.
Yeah, for sure. And Clint Weinmiller is always like, they're a little bit out of shape on the cardio side of it when you get them in basketball, but it's a different sport. You don't have as much of the cardio there, the running in volleyball as you do in basketball, and you use more of your core or middle area as well. And so, yeah, they're definitely sore. And my other 3 starters actually on the varsity this year, Rylan Coy, who's a senior, who played a little bit of varsity for me last year, and Corey Grubb and Anna Miller, who are juniors, they all 3 play basketball as well. So they've all experienced that, and they know what that's like.
Well, talk about some key matchups you got coming up for your Lady Foxes.
Okay, well, we'll go into next week. On Tuesday night, we travel to Cesar and play a much-improved Cesar team. I've been looking at some of the scores around, and they're really competing and getting some good wins with some tough teams. Took a excellent Woodlawn team 3 the other night, so there'll be a battle on Tuesday night. And then we go into the North City tournament and take on really 4 tough teams. We don't really have an easy win next week. We've got El Dorado, who's always scrappy. You never really know what to expect from them. Play Thompsonville again, which we already know is one of the better teams. For sure. And Carmi White Weinmiller is always an excellent team this year. They're a little bit out of shape. I think I've got one of the best middle hitters in Kaylee Dotson, but they probably got different sport here with her and Autumn Schneider, and she's going to be a tough player to play against. And then, of course, North City, who's coming off of traveling the state last year. So not an easy game in that tournament, so it'll definitely be a challenge there.
Well, you talk about the teams you play, night in and night out. You got to really bring your best effort, play pretty mistake-free volleyball to come away with victories.
Oh, definitely. There's not any. I've always said in volleyball is a momentum sport. Anybody can beat anybody on a given night, and we've had that happen to us, and we've upset some people before that we probably weren't expected to beat. And it's just, if you're ready, if you can play clean, that's kind of what we got into the other night. We didn't play as clean as what we're going to have to win games this year, and we learned that lesson. But, you've got to come every night and ready to play and, take advantage of the other team's weaknesses and play your best game. So hopefully we can do that next week and bring home a trophy.
Well, Jason, you talk about that. As the season progresses, you use the season as a stepping stone to get to your postseason, which is what everybody plays for. You want to have a lot of success along the way, and to be competitive in postseason, you have to. But lost to a good Thompsonville team the other night. I'm sure, volleyball is just like football. You guys have been in the gym. You've been hitting the ball. You've been playing against each other. But it was just nice to go play a couple matches and see what some of your strengths were and also what some of your weaknesses were and things you needed to get corrected.
Oh, definitely. And, a lot of people forget that I lost 6 seniors, too. I lost six really good players. And, a setter that set for me, Adrian Weinmiller, for 2 years. In a dominant rotation through there, and that's changed a little bit, and lost a lot of good players that were really strong defensive players, and we're making adjustments to that, and the girls are doing a great job. Catherine and Ramsey have really stepped up, and Kaylee in the back row, and so we've had a little bit of adjustment we've had to get to, but we're going to get there, and I think you're going to see some good things out of the Lady Foxes this year. We've got a tough schedule in that Black Diamond. Edwards County is one of the best teams around, and they're going to be really tough. Fairfield's always good, and Carmi's really tough this year, so it'll be a battle in that Black Diamond too.
Yeah, I think Edwards County and Fairfield, they're making the trip up to Casey Westfield to play in a tournament up there today.
Yes, yeah, playing some tough competition up there too. I talked to Chet recently, and he said that they could play some excellent volleyball and even come out with no wins. So that's how tough that tournament is. But that's what makes you better, and that's why we got a couple big tournaments right towards the end of the season that I think really helped us last year to go into that regional and be able to beat DuQuoin.
Another challenge will be, is the student section going to get involved behind your team like they did last year?
Well, I think so. We had a pretty nice one the other night for the first home game. I was very pleased with it. They did a good job and kept the crowd going, and so I think they're pumped up as well. They really enjoyed that last year. We lost a lot of good senior boys who were up there cheering pretty hard, but some of the seniors this year, they've taken over the reins of that. They were all dressed up, and we had a theme, and it was pretty fun to watch. So I'm hoping that'll continue through the season.
Well, Jason, that's an important thing, not only for your team, but for the other kids at the school. It makes the school spirit. That was a great thing to see last year.
It really was, and it just changed the attitude here at the beginning of the year, a lot of the kids, and they talked about it the rest of the year, and we're looking forward to this year, and they come every night and they know they're going to get to see a good game too, and they're starting to enjoy watching the volleyball and know that we're going to be competitive with whoever we bring in here, and I think that gets them pumped up as well.
Oh yeah, everybody loves a winner, and right now you've definitely got a winning product there. You've got a strong team, you've got some good athletes, and everybody loves a winner.
Oh, for sure. I've been very blessed over my years having a lot of talent. So it's made for some great programs.
Well, Jason, we want to thank you for your time here this morning. Always appreciate hearing from you, and we'll let you get a few more games under your belt, and we'll revisit this and see how your teams are progressing.
Okay, that sounds great. I always appreciate you having me on.
All right, Jason. Have yourself a great holiday weekend, okay?
Okay.
All righty. Okay, bye-bye. All right, Jason Hall, head volleyball coach at Hamilton County. Yeah, lost a tough one to Thompsonville the other night, 2-1.
Yeah, Jerry Warren just picked up his 500th victory, so he knows a little bit about coaching.
A little bit about volleyball
himself.
A little bit about volleyball, that's right. All right, real quick, college football today. You got Illinois at home against Ball State at 11 o'clock this morning. Also 11 o'clock this morning, Michigan State opens up their season. against Bowling Green. I'm going to have to get my Sparty shirt on here soon.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I imagine that.
Yeah. Ohio State.
Now, wait a minute. Who was they playing?
They're playing Bowling Green.
Oh, that was one of them cupcakes we were talking about
like
earlier.
Illinois is playing Ball State.
Yeah,
Okay. Ohio State beat Indiana yesterday 49-21. Wisconsin beat Utah State 59-10. Washington beat Rutgers 30-14. Probably a couple of the more intriguing matchups today, too, will be number 16 Louisville against Purdue, and then a game here in Week 1 between two ranked teams. We'll find number 11 Michigan and number 17 Florida playing each other at Florida. Michigan's a 5-point favorite.
That'll be a primetime game there.
That's at 2:30 this afternoon. Nebraska takes on Arkansas State today. Northwestern faces Nevada. Maryland against Texas. And Penn State against Akron. Another cupcake.
Yeah.
So that's Week 1 football. Looking ahead to next week in high school football, here's a matchup that's going to be interesting, Danny. You got El Dorado going to Cesar-Valere next week.
Yeah.
Cesar-Valere's 2-0. El Dorado should be 2-0 after today, after they play Vienna. And that gives the Cesar coaching staff a chance to go watch El Dorado play in person today.
I'm sure they'll be there.
I bet they will be.
They're probably already there.
They might be. So John Shadowins will be getting everything ready to take on those Eagles next week at Cesar. But that'll be a good matchup.
That'll be a good matchup. You'll see how strong a team this Cesar-Valere team really is.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it'll be a big game for Joe Clark. You know, you got a head football coach there with a lot of expectations around the team, and the pressure will start building week after week after week for him to get them El Dorado Eagles to where they're wanting them to be.
Yeah, El Dorado at Edwards County at Carmi next week as well, which could be kind of interesting. You got a lot of Saturday games today. Again, you got El Dorado at Vienna today. You got Paris at Lawrenceville. Also, you've got Mount Vernon on the road at Champaign-Urbana to take on Woodstock. A couple of things we didn't mention, Danny, that I got to mention. All right, this is the craziness of this IHSA football deal. Okay, this is just nuts. When you've got to go out of state, and I mean like way out of state, to find an opponent, there's something wrong with the program.
Oh, yeah.
Something wrong with this football situation in Illinois. All right, get this. Today, Cahokia is playing a game against Camden, New Jersey. All right? And East St. Louis is playing a game against Shreveport, Louisiana. I'm not making this up. These are actual games today.
And it's just because of the classification that those teams are in. They're having to go to places like that to find games because nobody wants to play them because they can't afford a loss in the scheme of this playoff.
Because you got to get 5 wins. But then on the flip side of that, those are bigger schools, like you say. But on the flip side of that, you got little old Martinsville, and I'm pretty sure Martinsville's probably 1A. And that's just up the road here by Oblong. It's not too far away. It's up by Casey, okay? Martinsville's got an open weekend, open date. They don't even have a game. They can't find an opponent.
You know, that's one of those deals. When you have success, nobody wants to play you because you got to have. It's all about 5 wins.
But isn't that sad that that's the situation that we have in high school football in Illinois? That you got to play somebody from Camden, New Jersey, or Shreveport, Louisiana, and then you got other teams that can't even find a game.
Yeah, pretty amazing.
Well, it's that'll be another show.
You were on that soapbox. All right, get off now.
Okay, that's right. We'll save that for another show, another time. All right, but anyway.
What about the St. Louis Cardinals?
I think they're done. I think they mailed it in. They traded away Leak this week, and, of course, he has already got a win last night for Seattle. Actually pitched pretty well, but you saw the Cardinals, start to call up a bunch of the young guys from Memphis, so we're kind of going to see the Memphis Redbirds maybe the rest of the season, and Bader got off on the right foot last night in his first game as a Cardinal and hit a home run.
Yeah, the Cardinals have a glut of outfilders.
Oh,
I think you're going to see
crazy glut of outfielders.
I think you're going to see some outfielder auditions for trade scenarios.
You are, because there's no way you can keep 6 or 7 outfielders. You can't.
8.
You can't.
And unfortunately, Dexter Fowler looks like he's going to have to be in the picture. But hey, the Cardinals, they may. You never know. Look at the Mike Leake situation.
Yeah, they were paying Leak so much money, and they parted ways with him.
This could be a wake-up call to Fowler when they approach him about moving to one of the corner outfield spots, that he might be more agreeable.
Could be. Could be.
You know,
things are going to change.
But hey, I want to applaud them. At least they're not sitting here doing nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing has not worked for 2 years now.
Right.
You know?
And the thing that is intriguing, and you hear some people talk about it, and maybe we need to get Tom Ackerman or Frank Cusimano on with us here in a couple of weeks to talk about this. The fact that they got rid of Leak and got rid of that salary, that now gives them even more money to work with in case they want to go after a big stud like a Stanton or something like that.
Well, the Cardinals have to get an impact player for their team.
They got to have somebody in that lineup that you're actually scared of.
Right now, they do not have an impact player on this team.
No.
Matter of fact, they've got more 4A players than they do impact players.
Yeah. Nobody in that lineup are you scared to pitch to. But if you had somebody like a Stanton in the lineup, then the opposition's a little afraid to pitch to him. But we'll see what happens.
If Albert Pujols was too expensive for him, I can't believe Stanton in too expensive.
Yeah, you're right. And it's going to be crazy money. It is. It's going to be.
Well, it is crazy money, $295 million.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane, but...
you're not even worth that much.
Yeah, well, I know. I know. Hey, that's going to wrap it up. We're out of time, Danny.
Yep, been another good week.
And hopefully the weather hangs in there and looks like it's going to be a nice one, and it's been nice today. And we appreciate all the guests being on the show with us this morning. And, again, thanks to our underwriting sponsors. So we'll be back next Saturday and do it again, and hope that all of you are as well. All right? Have a good weekend, everybody. Be safe out there. All right? Take care. So long.